and welcome to another episode of the Blues Focus podcast, airing every week on YouTube, Apple Music and Spotify. I'm Kieran, your host for this episode, and with me this week again I've got Elliot joining me. Going to get straight onto the game and the point away at Stoke on Sunday. Elliot, what were your views on the game this weekend?
Yes, solid result really, as we just sort of were talking about earlier. Defensively really pleasing to watch, not conceding a lot of chances. Unfortunate with the equaliser at the end. I think it would have been harsh on Stoke if we had taken all 3 points, to be fair to them. I think we had 4 shots on goal all game. And I think that's sort of where we need to improve really going forward. Defensively really good, going forwards. We could do a lot more. But I think Karanka set them up quite defensively for that game. As you I looked at a couple of heat maps and the stats and stuff on the weekend, and it showed us we were quite deep. In terms of shape of the team, look, it looks really good. I was really pleased with what I saw. How about yourself?
I mean, I suppose that's what we can expect from a Karanka side away from home, isn't it? I mean, the numbers of clean sheets he keeps in the league. I know we didn't keep one on Sunday, but his defensive sort of capabilities has always been known, hasn't it? So, although one thing I do think is I hope we don't go like that away at the teams where we should be winning games. Your likes of Wickham, Luton, people like, I hope we go there and have a go because, we should be beating them teams away from home. But I think Saturday it reminded me of the dogged results we used to pick up under Gary Rowett. To be honest, we was compact, stayed in our lines, didn't, we let him get down the wing a little bit, put the crosses in. We're going to win the headers. Dean and Friend, Sunjic breaking it down in the middle as well. The only problem is we didn't really seem to have an out ball. That's where I think the issue with Duke is he's such a lump. You can hit him with the ball, but when he's on the halfway line and there's no real pace in there as such to really spark a counter, you're kind of playing to the opposition's hands, don't you? If Stoke wanted to, they could have put a bit more pressure on us, but they were quite happy with knocking it around the back three for 60% possession on the stats in the end.
Yeah, I think like what we saw previous week against Rotherham, and he put Hogan up front with Duke. I mean, there's no way you can play Duke up front on his own at home. Again, we're just not going to create the chances. We're not going to get up the pitch enough. Like I say, I think Djukovic away from home as a lone striker is adequate, but I think we need a lot more mobility, a lot more pace. He does all the basics really well, Djukovic, but in terms of being clinical and finishing off, chances, especially when they're at a premium away from home, he's not going to be the striker that's going to do that for us this season. I see him more as a player that's going to be more of an impact player to come off the bench if you need to throw on an extra striker, alongside a striker. If we want to go more direct towards the end of the game, but I think definitely we're still a work in progress going forward.
Yeah, I think you're seeing on Saturday against Stoke as well. It's when he's up there on his own, and we're playing so deep to and letting Stoke have the ball in front of us rather than letting them play in behind them. Djukovic gets drawn deep, and when he's our only out ball, and your number 10 who's meant to be playing off him is John Terrell, who, I mean, no offence to you, he can't run. He's not the quickest player. So when he's the one who's meant to be feeding off Djukovic's flicks, and you've got 3 centre-backs on Duke on his own, you're just conceding possession to them, aren't you? You're just basically saying, look, just coming after the ball, knock it around your back three. You ain't going to break us down too often, but we're not really that bothered. It's almost like we're basically saying we're playing for a point rather than to win. I mean, we nicked it on a set piece in the goal, and It's a shame we couldn't hold on in the end. But, I mean, again, just like the Rowett days, Monk's days even, which deadly on set pieces away from home, and that's how we pick up a lot of results under them two.
Yeah, and I think my concern, was last season, when we concede a goal and we go a goal down, is the reaction from there. Especially when we've just got Djukovic up front on his own. There's not going to be that reaction. I don't feel confident about us getting back into games. If that was the other way around, I think we'd have probably quite easily lost that 1-0 to Stoke. So I think it's difficult. I think we need more options going forward. That is 100%. There's no doubt in that, unfortunately. So in the next week or so, we definitely need to get one or two more lone forwards in that's going to give us options.
I'll come on to the options in the remaining window shortly, but one thing I did see over the weekend after our game on Sunday was a tweet that says, no Birmingham player had more shots, successful dribbles, key passes or accurate crosses than Ivan Sanchez. He also registered an assist, had the highest pass accuracy of any Blues player to make more than one pass in the game, and he wasn't dispossessed once. So, I mean, he's your star player in the side so far. In Sky Bet team of the month as well, wasn't he, for September? But another impressive performance from him on Sunday, given the circumstances and the lack of attacking intent in a way.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on him so far?
Oh yeah, excellent player, excellent bit of business. Again, what we were saying earlier, I just hope that we can bring in. I know we've got Lecco to come back, but we don't know what type of player he's going to be when he comes back from injury. Hopefully, he'll be the exciting player that we're looking for, with pace and unpredictability to his game. But in terms of Sanchez, on the ball, he's brilliant. I definitely want to see. Hopefully, we see some goals in his game this season, not just assists. But so far, I can't complain about him. Yeah, he's been excellent.
He's I think we've said it on the podcast previously, but he's everything that we thought Jota would be when we signed him. He's that right-sided midfielder, left-footed, and everyone knows he wants to go on his left foot. They both make that quite obvious, but Sanchez has got that unpredictability about him. And whereas I think when we signed Jota, he was very predictable every single time. So far, so good, I suppose. And then moving on, we've got a couple of weeks now, international break. A couple more weeks in the transfer market, but one bit of business last night that I know you're dying to talk about as well. Riley McCree on loan for the season from Charlotte in the MLS, or Adelaide United, whoever you want to say he's come from. Happy with that signing?
Again, it was one of those signings, a bit like San Jose. It came out of the blue a little bit. Wasn't really expecting it. Can't profess to know a lot about the Australian A-League or the player himself. I've obviously seen the Scorpion kick, which has obviously made him quite famous. Which is some goal, to be fair. But yeah, as a player, I don't know. I initially, when I saw the signing, I thought it was maybe a player we're going to be bringing into the under-23 development team. I'm not, again, like I say, I don't know a lot about the Australian A-League, but I'm presuming it's on sort of par with, I don't know, League One at best, maybe League Two, probably League Two.
Well, to sum it up, I think Adam Lafondra plays for Sydney FC, and I'm pretty sure he's top scorer in the league, or he was.
Okay.
And I mean, and when was the last time he was relevant in an English league? So not to be harsh, he was all right.
Yeah, he kept bolting up a few seasons ago, didn't he? I think he scored a couple of goals in the Championship. I think, that tells its own story. And I think the fact that he's moving from, was it Adelaide? Is it Adelaide?
Yeah, Adelaide on his way to the MLS, but they're at the franchise that he's joined in the MLS isn't joining the league for another year. So we are the stepping stone, which is your favourite part of this deal. We are the stepping stone club. Interesting interview.
It was an interesting interview. Obviously, it's gone now. It's been deleted. So for those lucky people that managed to catch it, it was interesting. I think what I would say is it was just, I think, looking at it, it was just a poor choice of words from the lad. And he hasn't exactly said anything wrong, let's be honest. It is a step between moving from where he has to the MLS. I think it was probably just it was just a poor interview from the club, to be perfectly honest with you. And hopefully it doesn't affect the lad too much going forward.
Oh, from releasing that interview onto the social media channels, the club have put him in a position where he can't win, and I don't blame him. The lad, really. I don't think any fan with their head screwed on will do, because look, I'm not defending what he said as such. I mean, I think when you say something like that, it's going to be the way it's going to be interpreted. But I think, like you say, I think it's just a bad choice of words, mate. I think what he's implying is it is a stopgap. It's a year. It's a year where he's in limbo for the time being, because he can't join his MLS side for 12 months. He needs to play football. I think what he's trying to say is that this is the bridge between transfers, really. But I know your point is the club have done him no favours, and I don't understand why the club have even aired that interview. Do they not listen to what's said before they release it?
Clearly not. I mean, it's a big error. Like I say, any player that's going out on loan obviously is using the club as a stepping stone, as a stage to showcase what their talents are, in the hope that they're of getting a move back to the club, into the first team or onwards or wherever. So let's be honest. I mean, it frustrates me a little bit. Obviously, I've seen a lot of supporters on Twitter saying, getting annoyed at fans for getting annoyed at the comment. But, it's not the fact that the fans are getting annoyed at the fact that, at the thought of us being a stepping stone club. We know where we are as supporters. We know where the club is. We've been, bottom half of the championship for the past 10 years. So, we know for a fact that players are going to come to the club, with an idea of moving on to a higher level. And that's what we want. We want players to be coming in and using the club as a stepping stone. Let's be honest, we want ambitious players to come to the club to play football in the blue shirt. We don't want players to come to Birmingham City and think, I'm comfortable, I'm happy where I am. No, I want ambitious players at Birmingham. I don't. And unfortunately there are a few players in the first team I think that are, shall we say, comfortable where they are. So yeah, I definitely want more players like this lad that's coming in. I want more ambitious players. Just unfortunately,
I was going to say, you're not going to get promoted with players that are just happy with sitting in mid-table in the Championship, because that's not what gets you up the league. Go on.
No, and I was just saying exactly, and that was my issue. Just from a lot of what I've read on Twitter in the last 24 hours is, people getting annoyed at people that are unhappy with the comment. Like I say, it's not the comment. It's not the fact that we're getting upset because someone's described us as a stepping stone. We know where we're at. We're not playing at the top table of English football, are we, or European football? Probably never will for a good while. But it's the fact that the club has done that interview and then put it out there, which is just poor, I think.
Yeah, I mean, sense of realism, like you say, as to where we're at, the situation we're in as a club. For example, I know he's still there this season, partly down to the fact he had a poor second half of the season, really. Ivan Sunjic. So we signed him, apparently beat off the likes of AC Milan for his signature. So do fans that are upset that he said we're a stepping stone club, do they really believe that Sunjic is going to be here forever? or did they believe that Sunjic coming to Birmingham as a stepping stone to bigger and better things, showcase his ability in, and you can't deny, one of the most competitive leagues in the world in terms of anyone can beat anyone.
Yeah.
So, and obviously it's watched. English football is watched. Premier League and Championship especially is watched. So he's come here as a stepping stone. No one seems to. I know he didn't say it, but it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. But no one's upset about that. But
I don't think. So, listen, I don't think there's many clubs other than Jude Bellingham. Players. I don't think there's many players other than Jude Bellingham that sort of, grow up and think, I want to play for Birmingham City. That's my dream. At the end of the day, we know where we're at. We're not Manchester United. We're not Liverpool. And like you say, Sunjic, he has come to Birmingham City probably as a stepping stone to hopefully, moving on into the Premier League in English football. That's the long and short of it.
Well, interesting. Bellingham's literally another example. Yeah, he wanted to play for Blues, but you can't knock. No one knocked the lad for going to Dortmund. Everyone wished him well. Birmingham was always going to be a stepping stone for him because,
of course, it was.
These generational talents like him, you can't keep him here for too long. Look, Damari Gray, Nathan Redmond, Jack Butland, all these that come up through our youth system, they've all done the same, moved on, and fortunately, unless, like you say, you're the likes of Man United, you're always going to be in that position. We are a develop the player and sell them on sort of club. It's as simple as that. But with McCree, a couple of numbers for you on his season in the A-League last season. 27 starts, 12 goals, 6 assists. Australian Cup winner in the 1920 season. 21 years of age. Presumably coming to compete with that number 10 role with Terrell, you'd imagine. But then, as we was touching on briefly off air, where does that leave Dan Crowler?
It's a difficult one. I don't know what the situation is with Dan Crowley. I know a few people said that he picked up a slight niggle in the cup game at the start of the season, and he's not been, fully fit to start matches. I know he's fancying more the physicality of Terrell in the midfield, so that obviously when we lose possession of the ball, he can drop in and he can shield the back four along with the other two central defensive midfielders. Crowley doesn't quite offer that physicality to his game. I know last season, having watched him as well, he does tend to hold on to the ball a little bit too long at times, doesn't quite execute the passes that he should be executing. He's obviously a very talented player. He's a technical player as well, and he's very good when he is on the ball. I don't know with the lad from Australia whether they're going to bring him in and potentially play him right side, left side as well. So just sort of furthering up the options in terms of if Bella gets injured or Sanchez gets injured. But like we were saying earlier, I would much prefer us to be bringing in another striker, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, we'll move on to that now. Transfer window for deals to be done abroad closed last night. Obviously, as we know, McCree came in. Still another, 11 days, 12 days of the dealings with the EFL and Premier League. Yeah. Still, I think a couple of players and a couple of faces needed. Pressing issue, as we've said, still arguably another striker.
Yeah.
11 days to go. Who takes your fancy at this moment in time?
Oh, it's a tough one, really.
We've still got a player we spoke about before. Woodrow could still be done, but realistic or not, I don't know. But obviously, that's going to be one that still harps around on Twitter for the next week or so.
Can it be done? Can that one be done on an actual full transfer or permanent transfer, or can it go?
Yeah, so I think at the minute as far as I'm aware, it's still for the next week and a half. It's still full transfers can be done.
Okay.
It's just dealings in-house, so rather than with Spain and so on.
Right, I'm with you. So just international transfers is done now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously Woodrow, very good play. I mean, you're not going to pick him up for less than 5 million, I don't think. That's what Barnsley are going to sort of want for him. I can't see us spending £4 or £5 million on a player right now. I think it's going to be a loan signing, unfortunately. But yeah, like we were saying just before we came on, I know Danny Welbeck's just become a free agent. Sort of, that would be the ideal sort of player we could put up front. But again, wages, I think would be way too much for us. Hence why Watford are sort of offloading him.
Yeah, well, I did see as well in the article on Sky about Welbeck earlier. He had a £5 million release clause from being relegated. No takers on that, obviously, which frees him up to leave on a free instead.
Yeah.
Can only assume a combination of a £5 million fee and, as you say, big wages. What's it going to be? 60, 70 grand a week, you'd assume.
Yeah.
Be out of our price range. Woodrow, look, it's got to be a big fee, wasn't it? Even before the international window closed. Now you've limited the scope for a replacement as well. That's just going to drive the fee up even more. I think that's a bit of a non-starter from the off anyway.
Yeah.
But you really are all of a sudden scratching around, wondering where is a goal scorer going to come from. Again, you look at youngsters in the Premier League. Are there any that fit the bill? You got to think other clubs at this point in the Championship are still going to be in the same position as well.
Yeah.
So I really don't know. I really don't know where we go from there for a striker at this point in time.
I wouldn't be surprised if we don't bring another striker in, to be honest. I think he probably will utilise Lecco in a forward position. I think in terms of how we play, he might try and play sort of the sort of Bella and Sanchez or McGree or, potentially Lecco, hopefully when he's back, a little bit more narrower. So sort of just more narrower, sort of off the main striker. So we might go down that road sort of tactically. But yeah, I can't see us bringing another striker in, to be honest. Not in the current climate.
Current climate, and then you also think a couple of years back, or was it? Well, last summer. So we needed a Che Adams replacement, and we replaced Che Adams by selling Oz for sale. So we actually ended the market with 2 less strikers than we started it with. So I don't think they're afraid to go in short of numbers up front, so to speak. But then draws you to the need for another centre back. Again, I feel Sunday put Mark Roberts on at 1-0 up. Obviously ended up. I finished 1-1, yeah. Which was the point that some of the points I've seen people saying on Twitter was, if we didn't put Mark Roberts on and we stayed compact with a back four, we would have won that game. Do you agree with those reviews, those opinions?
I think, no, not really, to be honest. I think, Stoke were dominant from, start of the second half throughout, really, other than the fact that we got the goal from the corner, another set piece. In terms of, how the goal came about, it was down the left side, Pedersen again being, sort of outdone for pace, which happens quite a lot. A solid player, but he's just not quite got the yard of pace to sort of, prevent those attacks. Yeah, unfortunately. But yeah, no, it was an unfortunate goal, really. It was just it was a strike. It was heavily deflected. It was blocked by, I think, Harley Dean, and it just went in. It was unlucky, really. I think I don't blame Karanka for putting on the defender. I think he might have perhaps maybe put Roberts on a little too early. I probably would have preferred Hogan to have come on in the 70th minute to try and get us up the pitch, like you say, get an out ball rather than Roberts, and then bring Roberts on with sort of 5 to 10 minutes to go. Probably like 10 minutes to go to try and see the point out. Because I don't blame a manager for trying to see the 3 points out. I don't blame a manager for trying to hold on to a victory with 10 minutes to go. Not at all. 20 might be pushing it a little bit, personally. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen a strike, even if it was Hogan for Djukovic, just a like-for-like substitution, just to change it up front.
It makes you wonder if that's something we work on in training, the three at the back, because you can clearly see that Harley Dean's come on leaps and bounds at the start of this season compared to end of last with George Friend next to him. It gives him that assurance, and it's like it's two leaders in there, isn't it? Between the two of them, they talk. George Friend gives that calming influence, which maybe being next to Roberts you don't quite have, because I think even though he can have his good games, half the time I watch Roberts and I think he's a bit like headless chicken in there, isn't he?
Yeah.
So it makes you wonder if they're working on going free at the back for certain games and certain situations, such as Sunday. But still, the need for another centre back is crying out.
See, me personally, and I'm no manager, no coach, but I would prefer, with 10 minutes to go, or if it was 20 minutes to go, I would have preferred, to keep the back four intact as it was and bring on an extra defensive midfielder. That would, take off the attacking midfielder, take off the left side or the right side of midfielder, and just bring on another, defensively minded midfielder. You could have put Gary Gardner over there in front of Pedersen. It probably would have helped. It helped when we played against West Brom away at the start, post lockdown. Gary Gardner did a good job on that side, defensively. So that's what I would personally prefer. I'd prefer to see more defensive midfielders coming on just to shore up the middle of the park than another extra defender thrown in. It kind of was a little bit sort of a situation of, too many cooks spoiling the broth, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think, sure, you're picking up, you put another midfielder in there, picking up that congest that middle park still, which is obviously what Roberts was on for, but you keep that back four intact, and they all know their job, they all knew their role, what was needed of them, and maybe another day you don't get that deflection and you walk away with the 3 points there. But talk about another centre back, San Jose, who we still haven't seen in the lineup, can play centre back. Not in the squad again on Sunday, still working his fitness up by the sounds of it. But where do you see him fitting in? Is he going to be that centre back option? Is he going to be in the middle? We still don't know what to expect from him, do we? No,
we don't know what to expect from him. I think the way that we are defensively with the back four, I think we're pretty sound. So I can't see him, coming in for George Friend. Personally, I think I can see him coming in for one of the defensive midfielders. And like we were saying earlier, is that a job that he could do on his own? Potentially at home, and not away from home. Maybe away from home, we'll need two defensive midfielders. But San Jose, when he's up to speed and he's fit, could that be a job that we don't need Sunjic or Clayton? He comes in, does the job, and it allows us to play a few more attack-minded, forward-thinking midfielders.
Yeah, it's kind of like the anchor in front, and then have two in the pivot playing, looking ahead rather than sideways or backwards. I just want to touch on Clayton again a bit, because I want to say faultless performance as such, but another solid display from him on Sundays. Really made that position in the middle of his own for the time being, at least. A couple of eyebrows raised when we signed him. Is he past it or whatnot? But so far seems to be just what we needed in there. He brings something else in there, doesn't he? But
absolutely,
a lot of midfielders still on the books, so Laking out on loan. still time for Davis, Kifton Beld, maybe even the Gardner to Bournemouth rumours. What do you see as outgoings for the rest of the window now? What do you think can happen?
I think the obvious questions, like a lot of us seen on Twitter, is is Davis and Kifton Beld going to sort of move on out? I think both their time is up now with the club in terms of who we now have at our disposal in that central defensive midfield. So yeah, I would expect them to go out if they've got any suitors. That is Gary Gardner. I can't see Gary Gardner going anywhere. I'd like to think that he's definitely got his place in the squads. He's definitely good enough to play his way into the first team. That is for sure.
Well, he does your Adam Clayton role, doesn't he? Really, he's your combative midfielder, can get around, a bit more mobile than maybe Clayton is at his age. But like you said earlier, he can do a number of different things. He's filled in on the left at West Brom away. He brings that aerial advantage as well. So hopefully he stays. Like I say, he's a good enough player. I could see Kifton Beld going to Millwall. Rowett loves him, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's true.
Which was
he try and sign in the Derby?
Yeah, they somehow signed the wrong part of paperwork, which begs belief considering they've been doing it for year after year after year. So obviously we got away with that one because he come back into the side under, I think it was Cottrell then, and didn't look back after that. Davis, I don't know if I'm so sad if he was to go now. I think his time at the club's been numbered for 12 to 18 months now. Yeah, but like you say, it's finding a suitor for these players now more than anything. Davis tarnished with the fact that he refused to play for Charlton in the end of last season. Do people really want to take that sort of attitude on board if he's going to cost a fee as well?
I think David Davis still offers something at championship level, in my opinion. But if we want to be, challenging in the top half of the division, I think we obviously need more quality than David Davis. There's no disrespect to the player. I think he sort of knows where his level is at the moment. And like we were saying earlier, that position, central defensive midfield, is so important in this division. If you've got a player that can put his foot on the ball, can pass the ball, can break play up, he's got the composure to get his side up the pitch. We're talking about the likes of Tom Kearney. Unfortunately, I don't want to say his name, but John McGinn. Players that can actually, get around the pitch, put the foot in, break the play up, and then can actually see a teammate and can actually instigate attacks, can also score goals as well. Then we need to be bringing that sort of player in if we want to be successful in this division. So yeah,
like I say, that the issue with those is they're like gold dust, aren't they? And
unfortunately, yeah.
Where do you find those players, and where do you find them for dirt cheap as well? I think the days of getting someone like John McGinn for 2.5-3 million are gone, aren't they, nowadays? I know it was only a couple of years ago that them lot signed him, but they're few and far between, aren't they now?
They are, unfortunately. I think Bournemouth have got a player in us do everything really in the middle of the path. I think they've got a couple of players like that. It's really difficult. Again, with the same with Watford, really. We're talking about teams that have just come down from the Premier League. They've got those type of players that can actually do. I think Capoue does a similar sort of job. He can actually break play up. He can pass. His passing stats are pretty decent. I think Adam Clayton brings that to our game to an extent, but I think we need more quality than that if we're going to.
You need legs as well, because you need someone who's going to do it every week. I don't think Clayton can do it every week now, unfortunately.
Yeah.
He's going to get them stages where he needs to have a rest, as are many people this season now with the congested schedule. But see what the next 10 days or so brings, I suppose.
Well, like I say, be interesting. See what if we do go in for a striker. So I think that's the only position, really, isn't it, that we sort of.
I think it's the one that we definitely need. Definitely, because I know we only play one up front, but we need more than two options. And I think it all does boil down to what's his idea for Lecker? What's he coming for? Is he a striker? Is he a winger? Is he a starter? What is he? I think that'll answer quite a few questions.
Yeah, definitely.
So we'll catch up again after the international break. At which point I think the window will be closed as well. So hopefully we'll know what we've got for the next few months. That's pretty much all we've got for today. But yeah, thanks for joining me. Thanks for watching at home. We'll be back again after the international break. Follow us on the social media channels at Blues Focus Pod. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time.